All right, let's talk about the workout Annie. With Annie, we have some jumping rope and we have some sit-ups, and I just want to talk about the actual time domains and maintaining the intended stimulus for the workout Annie. Um, so Annie, if you want to do like a scaling approach and a top-down approach, is going to be 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, double unders and sit-ups. That's great to think about it that way. Most folks in our system aren't ready for that. So what we look at this as is we look at it as you have a minute and a half to practice your jump rope, and then a minute and a half to do sit-ups, and then a minute 15. And so instead of the 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, we give you a minute and a half, a minute 15, 1 minute, 45 seconds, and 30 seconds. That helps preserve the intended stimulus. For most of our folks, about I'd say 80 to 90% of our folks are going to stay there for quite a while until we can actually hit those numbers of 50 double unders, 40 double unders, 30, so forth and so on, along with the sit-ups. So when folks are, we do this a lot during the fundamentals. So I've coached this not quite triple digits times, but this is a great stimulus, and almost always every time I'll write something like this. I'll write, we'll say it's single unders, and then sit-ups. So we have that, minute 30, minute 15, 1 minute, 45, and 30, and I'll have this set up on the board. Then eventually we can transfer it into your book. 3, 2, 1, go. You start with your single unders, and I'm looking at my watch. All right, it's a minute and a half. Move on. How many did you get? I got 97. Awesome. Move on to the sit-ups. Cool. The 3-minute mark. How many did you get? Because a minute and a half for the jump rope, a minute and a half for the sit-ups. That gives us to the 3-minute mark. I got 39. Awesome. We have a minute 15. So if we start at the 3-minute mark with the set of a minute 15 of the jump rope, then you move on to 4 minutes and 15 seconds. All right, 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Move on to your sit-ups. How many single unders did you get? I got 70. So forth and so on. Then you're writing down all your numbers. Then at the end, you can total this up. I got 217, and I got 120. And then you're going to write that down in your book. You're going to have that data for your first exposure to Annie. Maybe the second exposure that you have to Annie, you try to do that again with single unders and sit-ups, and you try to beat that. Then eventually, maybe third, fourth, fifth, whatever, whenever it's appropriate, you start trying to do some double unders. So we have the same kind of setup here. And it's not uncommon to get into Annie and say we're doing double unders. And your first exposure with double unders with Annie, you get something like 7. And then for the sit-ups, you get 42. And then 5, 29, whatever. The act, as long as you're safe, as long as you're not going to potentially injure yourself, the volume's not going to be too much. A great way of learning to perform double unders is actually just doing them, practicing them. I'm going to give you all the great cues, nice and organized. Elbows are down, elbows are tight, hands are down, looking out to the horizon. I'm going to give you all the cues. We can work on some things. Maybe your jump rope length is off a little bit, but jump roping is one of those things that you just have to do it. You can't sit here and give you a lecture. You can't watch a bunch of videos and then learn how to do it. That's helpful, but you just have to do it. So hopefully this helps explain the time domains for Annie, where you're going to do a minute and a half effort of the jump rope, minute and a half effort of the sit-ups, then a minute 15, 1 minute, 45, 30, and 30. That adds up to 10 minutes. If you get to the point where your double unders, you're stringing them together, you're doing an awesome job, you may get to the point where this is not, where you don't need this. So you have from the 0-minute mark to the minute and 30 mark with your double unders. Let's say you get done at a minute with your double unders. What I would just simply do, if I was watching you, I was helping you write things down, you get a check mark, awesome. And then your sit-ups, check mark. Check mark, maybe you can't quite get to the sit-ups in the round of 40, you only get 37. Then you get the double unders. So in the round of 30, you only get 29, check mark, then you get all of the rest, and you finish, let's say, in 9:40. That's your time, but you did not complete that in 9:40 because you still had a few reps that were left. Then maybe the next time you just try to complete the workout. So that's the progressions of how we would build up. Starting off, I believe for the life, we have life, fitness, and performance. We're going to start off with single unders and assisted sit-ups. If you don't need any assistance, then we'll do sit-ups and sit-ups. And then for performance, you have double unders and sit-ups. I would say don't underestimate the single unders, proficiency with the single unders, but once it's appropriate for you, moving on to the double unders, and then eventually you're not going to get a number where it's like, okay, I did X number of double unders and I did X number of sit-ups. Eventually you might get something less than 10 minutes if you can complete the 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 within the time domains. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and happy training.